And there's nothing like football in November, especially in the city of Philadelphia, where those fans are buzzing. They got the only undefeated team in the NFL, and there is that bad man, Jalen Hurts. Listen, when you come up to the game, you got to come correct. And Jalen Hurts was styling and wilding. Welcome to Monday Tailgate, presented by Snickers. I'm Skubie Mageza with my boy Daniel Dopp. And we are here to present you with another Monday night tailgate. And Dopp, this season in the NFL has been phenomenal. I mean, the amount of one-score games we have, the overtime games we have, the plays. This week we had 7 one-score games and 2 overtimes.
Dude.
And now we get this divisional matchup. First thoughts, NFC East showdown here.
First thoughts are, how many points are the Eagles going to win by? I think is my first thoughts. I feel so terrible saying that, but these Philadelphia Eagles led by Jalen Hurts are just unreal. The dude is just taking his game to another level. The addition of A.J. Brown, their running game is fantastic. Even Devonta Smith, who turns 24. Happy birthday.
Oh, happy
Devonta
birthday.
Smith
That's
today.
a nice little nugget.
Hoping he gets in the end zone. I don't know, maybe I'm not Erin Dolan, but maybe he gets in the end zone on his birthday. Anytime touchdown, just throwing it out there. Throwing it out there.
That's a perfect segue, because we want to let you know that Erin will be in the show later, and so will be Jason Fitz. He will join the show as well. Erin will give us our best bet. Fitz will talk about teams that can save their season with our playoff predictor, and we will go through Monday memes as always. So I think it's time we bring in another guest. We got Luis Miguel Echegaray standing by to recap Sunday's action the best way possible. And Luis Miguel always brings the energy, and I know he got good energy right now because his Giants just won another game.
Let's go! I missed you, fellas. I missed you. They keep telling me to come to Bristol, come check it out. And I'm like, listen, I'm in New York City still partying it up because my Giants keep winning, baby. How's it going?
We're doing great, buddy. We miss you as well. We love the energy, and both of y'all buzzing. Your teams are just winning now.
Hey,
right?
man, what do you want me to say? When you get dubs, you just feel good. You know what? It's just the way to live.
The Patriots were on a bye week, so I'll just count it as me getting a dub as
fair.
well. But let's get back to that AFC East, because I'm talking about my Patriots. We had the Bills play in the best game of the year against the Vikings. And we have to start there in Buffalo, because that was just an absolutely unreal game between the Vikings and the Bills. And it started off looking like Kirk Cousins came back in this game, and all of a sudden things started to fall apart, bad interceptions. But just looking at the stats right here, Josh Allen, 2 interceptions yet again, and he's leading the NFL right now in interceptions. But as you can imagine, social media was buzzing with this wild ending. The Vikings almost blew it. Then Josh Allen fumbled, crucially from his own 1-yard line. And Kirk Cousins and his boys were definitely lit on the plane. Look at all them chains that he got on.
Don't need
but
that.
They gave the Vikings a 3-point lead, but the Bills didn't go away. They managed to tie it with a late field goal and send the game into overtime. But we know who ended up winning this game.
Yeah.
It was the Vikings.
The right team.
Yes, and they've just found ways to win at 1 p.m. They are the 1 p.m. champions, if you ask me. But, Dopp, are we worried about the Bills? Because that is another disappointing loss.
I don't think I'm worried about the Bills. I was worried to see how Josh Allen was going to play with that elbow, right? We wanted to see how he was going to be able to throw and respond to anything, but he looked fine. I have no reason to be nervous unless someone wants to tell me otherwise. I felt like Josh Allen went out there and looked like the Josh Allen that we're used to seeing. Now, that doesn't mean that the dude doesn't make mistakes, and he's got to clean those up in order for the Bills to continue to be the team that's going to play at that top level echelon. But no, I'm not worried about this Bills team. I think they just got to be able to tighten up and be able to figure out, how are they going to be able to be a better, tighter, more efficient team going forward. I'm all in on the Bills still.
Luis, Stephon Diggs said this team is starting to blink when it comes down to crucial moments in this game. Do you think that they're blinking? Because Dopp seems to not be worried.
Well, listen, I love Dopp, and I'm almost never going to disagree with him, but I kind of disagree here. I'm not. It's less about Josh. It's less about Josh Allen. Listen, hear me out. It's less about Josh Allen, because I do agree. I think that it's Josh Allen. He can get it together. That's a ridiculous.
That is ridiculous.
Right, but it's more about, first of all, I think that I'm worried if they don't get home field advantage. Because, I think that they are a different team away from home. And the AFC East, by the way, everybody right now is in the playoffs. This was one of the best games in the history of the NFL. I'm telling you that right now. And the Bills gave us the craziest 2 minutes of regular time in that game as well. I am not worried about Josh Allen. I'm more worried about Buffalo and what they do away from home, especially in the playoffs. That I'm worried about. And Josh Allen just has to, get rid of the interceptions in the red zone. That's a big, big problem.
Yeah, here's the thing that I don't want to get lost in this, just for me. The Bills never should have even been in a spot to win this game because Gabriel Davis did not catch that ball going out of bounds.
Yes,
If that had been
we need to talk about that catch.
Yes.
We need to talk about that catch.
Shout out to Josh Allen for making sure they snapped the ball. So for those who watch the game, it was a play. They're in the 2-minute drill. They throw it. Gabe Davis makes a catch on the sideline. It did not look like he secured the catch all the way through, and then they snapped the ball, which they could not look the play over.
Yeah, which was, honestly, for Josh Allen, it was the right play. The Bills offense got up there and made I think the NFL got lucky, and Field said this on Fantasy Focus on Monday. The NFL got lucky that the Vikings still won that game because if that had cost them, what are you going to do? It's just so obvious that wasn't a catch.
So many different things that we could talk about that went down in this game, even before the
Gabe Davis
play.
We need to talk about Justin Jefferson.
Justin Jefferson, yes. We will get to that. Okay. We will get to that in a second. But the Vikings right now are 8-1 on the season. But with that said, they've outscored their opponents by 35 points this season. That's the second lowest point differential by any 8-1 team in NFL history. So they are just winning these one-score games over and over again. And they wouldn't have been in the position to win the game had Justin Jefferson not made one of the best catches that you will ever see. And I think we can argue here this might be the best catch ever. Even Odell Beckham Jr. said, good Lord, himself, because Dopp, he was impressed by this catch as well. What are your thoughts on this being the best catch ever?
I don't know about ever. Here's what's so hard, and I want to hear LME. I want to get your thoughts.
4th and 18 is when he made the grab.
So, that part is amazing, but I'm wondering, how is it the best catch ever when, if it wasn't for the defender being able to cradle the ball for him, he wouldn't have been in a spot to be able to bring it down. OBJ did it all by himself. George Pickens did it all by himself. But as much as this was incredible, right, and great concentration, I don't know if it was the best catch ever. I don't know. Maybe I'm a hater.
Dopp, am I going to disagree with you for a second time tonight?
Come on, man.
Listen, I hate to do this, obviously, to go against Odell Beckham Jr. and what he did with that catch against the Cowboys. The reason why I think this catch is one of the greatest ever and it supersedes Odell Beckham's, one is because it was on 4th and 18. So this was the game on the line. He had to make this catch. 2, he's running backwards. 3, he's actually using, to your point, right, the opponent's helmet to his advantage. And 4, he doesn't have complete control until the last second. It's an unbelievable catch. But the thing for me is the fact that it's on 4th and 18.
I know you got one more
thought. That's what makes it so good.
What's your rebuttal? I know you got
it's tough to have a rebuttal. It's a fantastic catch, although it's just, if it was anyone other than an NFC North opponent. I'm a Lions fan, so no, let's just give it I'd rather give it to OBJ than Justin Jefferson.
I think there was a little bit of luck in that catch.
I do want to say something, though. Hey, Scoob, though, one thing, though. Justin Jefferson has played 42 games in this league, right? He already has 20 100-yard games. That's unbelievable. He's a true force. This
dude's unreal.
Yeah, he's been wide receiver 1 in the NFL ever since he got into the league. All right, let's keep it moving over here because we got other stuff to talk about. And let's shout out our former ESPN colleague, Jeff Saturday, for getting a huge win against Fitz's Las Vegas Raiders. Matt Ryan was back leading the Colts from the QB position. And yes, Dopp, Jonathan Taylor is alive. He is back. Fantasy owners, you can rejoice. He has turned back up and raised from the ashes like a phoenix from the ground.
Ooh, I love it, Scoop. I love it.
So, on the flip side of this, just another wrenching loss for the Raiders. Derek Carr was emotional post-game. I mean, it was a heartfelt speech that he gave. And it might be just one of those years for the Raiders, but Hey, I saw Jim Irsay. Here it is. He tweeted this earlier on today because he's hearing the noise. Just win, baby. Because I know he wanted to say something to the people and all the doubters that had something to say about that hire. But Jeff Saturday, 1-0, Dopp.
Hey, it was a fantastic win for Jeff. And I'll tell you what, that box score that we looked at, that came up on the screen, that's how they want to play this football game.
Yeah.
Matt Ryan only threw the football 28 times. They don't want Matt Ryan to throw the football 40 times a game. They want to give it to Jonathan Taylor. They want that ground game to work. That's how Jeff Saturday and these Colts are going to win football games. They got to stick to that method because Matt Ryan airing it out at his age, at my age, at our age. Matt, it's just not the same anymore, buddy. It's not the same. We're getting old, bud.
We're getting old, man. We're getting really old. I like the fact that on a Monday we're talking about Saturday winning on a Sunday. How about that? I like that. Hey, listen,
see what you did there. Go ahead.
You like that? It took me an hour to figure that one out. I'm glad that I said it. But listen, here's the thing. Here's the thing I like about the Colts. That is very difficult in the NFL, especially if you're not playing well at the beginning of the season. I think Jeff Saturday just went in there and said, guys, just be yourselves. Let's just diversify. Just be free and do what you got to do. And Matt Ryan did 21 for 28 passes. To Dopp's point, he didn't have to do more than what he's needed to do. Jonathan Taylor came alive again. This was a good win. And you know what? The Colts owner is right. At the end of the day, this is about winning. And they got the W, and that's good enough.
Exactly. And I think one thing to note here that's really hidden underneath all of this is Josh McDaniels. Remember when the Colts wanted to hire him as head coach and he said no? And then they end up hiring Frank Reich, who they fired and replaced with Jeff Saturday. And then Josh McDaniels, head coach of the Raiders, loses to Jeff Saturday in his first game. Wow, the NFL loves to give us some drama.
Right?
And I'm all here for it. Just quick thoughts on the Raiders and their fall apart.
It is tough. They made a huge move to be able to get Devontae Adams. They signed Darren Waller to a massive deal. And I love Darren Waller, but they re-signed Hunter Renfrow. Where did Hunter Renfrow go this year from everything? There have been so many issues. I don't know what I would do from the Raiders' standpoint. They've got a lot of things to be able to fix. It's not just Derek Carr, but it seems obvious that this offense isn't working the way that it needs to, or somebody isn't doing something because they've just had too many collapses as a team. As a Lions fan, I've watched this. And sometimes it just feels like, hey, man, we just don't know how to win.
Yeah.
Period. And it sounds
These
like
are
such a weird
one-score
thing.
losses, too.
Yeah. I mean, you get up in games and it just feels bad. It just feels bad.
All right, so let's move on.
Well, Dopp, here's where me and you agree. I was just going to say, Scoop, very quick on the Raiders. The facts are straight. They're 2-7. This is worse than when McDaniels was 3-9 with the Broncos. So, the proof is in the pudding. Something has to change and change big.
Yeah. Word coming from the press conferences and the reporters, something has to happen in that locker room with the guys. It's not necessarily the coaches, it's the guys not buying into what the team is trying to do, and Derek Carr called them out in the interview. Now we move on to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field.
Ooh.
And we saw the Cowboys visit the Green Bay Packers, and what I have to say in that L for the Cowboys is the same thing Stephen A. Smith would say. How about them Cowboys? Mike McCarthy visiting his former team, and there was just something about Aaron Rodgers playing that team. The Packers pick up a much-needed win, 31-28 in overtime. They were trailing by 14 entering the fourth quarter. Entering that game, the Cowboys were 180 all-time when leading by 14 points through three quarters. So essentially, they just never lost.
This one's good. That was good, Scoop. That was good. I like that one.
What an ugly loss. But from Green Bay's side, you got a great performance out of Christian Watson. Is he a fantasy target now? And how are you liking that offense?
We talked about this, right? This is tough because there was no Romeo Dobbs this week, right? Alan Lazard didn't really look fantastic. Christian Watson comes in. He only had 4 targets, but 3 of them go for touchdowns. And I feel like as much as I want to be excited about this second-round rookie that they wanted to be something within this offense, it more feels like the Cowboys let this one get away than it feels like the Aaron Rodgers-led Packers are back, per se. That's the way that I'm looking at this anyways.
Yeah, at LME, you also saw Aaron Rodgers going at it with Coach LaFleur on the sideline, and he looked like he was struggling. The body language was bad, but they just figured out a way to get the win, right?
That's right, man. Listen, here's the thing, right? Aaron Rodgers has been there before. He knows how to lose as much as he knows how to win. And it's a little bit of both. I think the Cowboys were just as bad as the Packers were as good. And finally, somebody played catch with Aaron Rodgers because he had nothing, right? And then you have, Christian Watson that comes in for 3 touchdowns. So he needed somebody to help him out. And the running game at the beginning was developing. Listen, at the end of the day, like the Cowboys team just never get it done against the Packers. But it is a little bit worrying because Dak Prescott wasn't on it and neither was Parsons. So, what does that say in the long run when you have to really try and get it done? Because the NFC East, as we know, is getting stronger and stronger. And they need to get these wins. So I'm not so much worried about them right now. But if they get to the playoffs, which is still difficult, what are they going to do in the long run? A very good win for the Packers. And this might just be the turning point.
Yeah, huge win for the Packers. I do want to say I'm so frustrated that they won't just let Tony Pollard be the guy. Oh my gosh, Tony Pollard looks so good when Ezekiel is not out there, man.
Yeah.
Anyway,
all right,
keep going.
This is definitely more about the Cowboys' epic collapse than it is about the Packers being back. But all right, it's time for the Mayhem Moments presented by Allstate. And the NFL is international, y'all. And we had another game across the pond, but this time it was in Munich, Germany with the Bucks and Seahawks, and it did not disappoint. Great game. We had mayhem on the field with Tom Brady at age 45 attempting to catch a pass at wide receiver, and somebody needs to tell this man to just stay in the pocket and stop running down the field because it is clearly not in your bag, my guy. The crowd was loud, and that might have been due to the fact that they were serving pint-sized beers at the game. They just know how to get it down.
It comes in pints?
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And
it's
of course,
nothing new, Dopp. We're in Germany. Of course it comes in pints, man. Of course.
And of course, the crowd was serenading the players with a version of Country Roads. And my question is, how do people from across the pond even know that song?
Dude, of all the songs that are sung, honestly, LME, if you had to pick one song that you felt like signified America that was going to be sung at a football game in Germany, would you have thought it was going to be Take Me Home Country Roads by John Denver? Because I would have picked something very different, I think.
No, listen. Okay, when you go to a karaoke in Munich, it's YMCA, it's maybe Brown Eyed Girl, and then John Denver comes in right number 3. They know that song. Everybody knows that song. Listen, let me tell you something. There is something very special happening with the NFL and this European market. It's unbelievable. We've seen it already in London. I mean, I'm reading stats like 14 million people in Great Britain are passionate NFL fans. The Tottenham Hotspur Stadium, the ones that we've seen the previous games with the retractable pitch, etc. And now Bayern Munich's Allianz Arena in this game. And look, I was telling Skubie before we started the taping how there was 850,000 people in line to buy a ticket for this game. Like, that's how many people are so interested in this. Yeah, and listen, the final thing is Jacksonville Jaguars owner Shahid Khan. He's the owner of Fulham, right, a Premier League team as well. And he's just one of many notable names in the NFL that really want to just keep going and putting more and more into Europe. It's a massive market. It keeps growing, and I won't be surprised if we see more, international combines and academies, et cetera, and it develops into other countries. It's a big stuff. And that was just a great scene in Germany this week.
I knew you could add some great insight towards this conversation. And Tom Brady now wins a game in the NFL best 4th country: Mexico, Germany, London, and of course the U.S. So
London's
Tom Brady,
not a country, it's
the GOAT,
city,
doing
England
much
is.
more. Yes, England. Yeah.
Yes, you said London.
Yeah,
said
my fault.
But Skubie,
you know what I mean.
He may have won in all those countries, but he lost Brazil.
Oh, no.
Hey, we love you, LME. Appreciate you for hopping in the show. Much love, my guy. Next time, let's do it again, all right? Wakanda forever.
Let's do it, baby. I'll be back. Wakanda forever, baby.
All right, now it's time for Rookie Spotlight presented by Snickers. And this week, we thought we would highlight a different type of rookie. A rookie head coach from Miami. Dolphins head coach Mike McDaniel has gotten a ton of praise, and I think it is reasonable for what his team is doing, especially after their performance against the Browns yesterday. 491 yards of total offense, 39-17 win. Tua is undefeated as a starter and leads the NFL in QB rating. He's been on a tear lately, and so has been his head coach with the play calling. I think we need to respect him for Coach of the Year, and we need to respect Tua for MVP.
I am totally with you on McDaniels for Coach of the Year. Like, Mike McDaniel has done something that I feel like everyone was talking about, how Tua, is he really going to be this guy?
Yep.
How are we going to figure this out? This is a tryout year. He doesn't really have a strong arm. And we've sort of found that doesn't matter. When you get the right pieces around your quarterback and you're able to scheme up the right things, you're able to use your pieces more effectively than if you're just like, hey, man, we just got a bunch of really great skill position players. So I think he's done an awesome job here, the way that he has taken so many of these guys. And it's fun to be able to watch Miami Dolphins football games. And it's been a while since I've said I like watching the Miami Dolphins play football, but every week it feels like a track meet. And that kind of football is just fun to watch.
And they've made all the right moves with their roster.
Oh, yeah.
Getting Jeff Wilson Jr. has opened up this offense even more. Ever since he's joined the team, he's averaging about 6-7 yards per carry. And then you go and help that pass rush even more. At this point, this team is looking even better. And the AFC East itself is looking great. Right now, all teams in the AFC East would make the playoffs.
That's crazy.
Isn't that insane?
That's so crazy, because I feel like how long ago was it where the only team that mattered in the AFC East was just the Tom Brady-led Patriots, and that's it? Everybody else sucked. And now they're all good. How great is that?
All right, I know you got a tweet from Tim Reynolds that you wanted to show us.
Oh, yes, I do. We do have this tweet from Tim Reynolds that came up. It says, the last time that the Dolphins were 7-3 was 2001. That was 24 starting quarterbacks ago, 8 head coaches ago, 7 stadiums.
What?
7 stadiums ago. LeBron was still in high school. The iPod had just come out. Tua was 3 years old. Mike McDaniel was a freshman at Yale. And Tom Brady was in his first year as a starter for New England.
The good days. Well, the Dolphins are most definitely playoff bound. Still some teams trying to get there, but here we are with Jason Fitz.
Let's
Told
go!
y'all he'll be in the show with us. And Fitz, we're still trying to figure out which teams can possibly get into the playoffs. So I think it's only right that it's time for Saving the Season, presented by Synchrony Bank Savings. And we're going to break out the playoff predictor machine to break down some possible scenarios after a wild week 10. So, Fitz, we're going to see which teams have an opportunity at making the playoffs right now, who are currently struggling. And you see it at the top, Chargers, Commanders on the bottom. Who do you have making the playoffs?
Yeah, for some reason, Scoobs, I don't see my beloved Raiders here. Oh, because they suck. Well, the Chargers are sitting at 5-4, and I'm going to play it safe. I think they've got a real shot at the playoffs, honestly. I'm going to show you how. So we've got this fancy machine here that will let us go through all the games, lets us figure it out week by week, taking a look at the Chargers schedule. I think this one's pretty easy and pretty likely. They're going to lose to the Chiefs, fine. They'll beat a bad Cardinals team. They'll beat a bad Raiders team. They'll lose to a Dolphins team that's actually really good. They'll lose to a Titans team trying to make the playoffs. They'll beat a bad Colts team. They'll beat a bad Rams team. They'll beat a bad Broncos team. Bam! 88%. I wasn't the best at school or math, but I think 88's hitting. And this is all about this guy, man. Justin Herbert.
Exactly.
We are wasting Justin Herbert. We keep talking about Lamar Jackson's failings in the playoffs. Let's remember, Herbert hasn't even made the playoffs yet. Oh, atrocious.
And even though they've been struggling lately, one thing about this team that we have to give them credit for is they're dealing with a lot of injuries. No Joey Bosa, no Keenan Allen. Herbert has been having to throw to a lot of backup guys lately, and they're still in the running for the playoffs, and I think that's why the predictor likes them to save their season.
I mean, injury is part of the Chargers culture, but you got to pick a team now. Let me guess which team you're going to go with.
Fitz. You got to go with the Patriots. As a residential Patriots fan, when you look at the list of all those teams that could possibly make the playoffs, who do you trust the most with their defense? Who do you trust the most with their running game? And Fitz, when you look at it, yes, 20% chance to make the playoffs, but we got the GOAT coaching the team on the sideline. They're beating the Jets.
Okay,
Come on,
they'll beat the Jets.
That's an easy
They're losing to the Vikings, though, right?
Yeah.
All right.
The L to the Vikings is understandable. We just saw what they did with Justin Jefferson. We've been talking about it all show.
They taking an L to the Bills? Taking an L
on a Thursday night, December. It's time to drop off some gifts. I'm saying the Patriots win that game because it is that time of the year.
That doesn't have a playoff chance. Takes it all the way up to 45. All right.
And there's always that one game where they don't have an opportunity to win. And I think that's the one where they can actually get this game because Josh Allen has been struggling and making bad decisions by throwing a lot of picks, leads the NFL in interceptions, as we mentioned before. And then going through the rest of the games in the list.
Cardinals stink. Raiders stink. What do you think? Do they beat the Bengals?
I think the Bengals, they beat the Bengals.
All right, they beat the Bengals. I love that. And now we got the Dolphins and the Bills left. They beating the Dolphins?
I think the big question here is, have the Dolphins clinched by this time or have the Bills clinched by this time? Because we're so late into the season. Are you going to be playing with backups or are you going to be playing with guys who are on the field? So I think these ones are toss-ups, personally, if you ask me.
So let's give them, well, it won't let me do that. Let's give them the loss. Nope, won't let me do that. This is as far as it will let me go, Scooby. It won't say, we get to 56%. We get to 56%. The computers are saying the same thing that you're saying. We just don't know.
I think the whole thing of this is the Patriots' path to the Super Bowl is not going to be an easy one. But they were at the top of the list.
Never said
when you talk about having a chance to save their season. So just check back next week for Saving the Season, presented by Synchrony Bank Savings. And I'm just trying to make sure I save my money when it comes down to betting. So why don't we just bring in our betting expert, Erin Dolan, for the best bet of the night.
Monday Tailgate, what is up? My Philadelphia Eagles, as you guys have been talking about, are playing tonight against the Commanders, and my best bet for this one is going to be Jalen Hurts to go under 41.5 rushing yards. I think he's going to have a big game, just not on the ground. In the first couple of games of the season, he really took off, but he hasn't hit over this mark in 5 of the last 6 games. And when he played against the Washington Commanders in that Week 3 meeting, he only had 20 rushing yards on 9 attempts. The Commanders' defense is really good at stopping the run. They're ranked 10th, but they're not good at stopping the pass, which is why I think this team will lean on the pass tonight. So a couple other player props just to mention. These are my best bets, but I do really like these ones. Jalen Hurts to go over passing yards and Jalen Hurts over 1.5 passing touchdowns. Again, I think the game plan for this will be for the Eagles to throw the ball in the air rather than lean on the ground game. Now, again, Jalen Hurts under rushing yards is going to be my best bet, but the Eagles are going to remain undefeated after this one. I'm telling you guys right now. I'll be back in studio next week, so I will see you then after this ticket cashes.
Why, thank you, Erin, for the best bet. I've already put in that Jalen Hurts under as well because this defense here is pretty good. So let's just talk about this game, Dopp.
Yeah.
Eagles trying to get to the point of 9-0.
Yeah.
And this Washington defense is a little bit underestimated, if you ask me.
Yeah, I think that they're a good defense, but I think that this Philadelphia team is just, they're set up to be one of the best teams in the NFL and to make a really deep push into the playoffs, and that is just because Jalen Hurts is so good at what he does. Like I said earlier in the show, like them being able to bring in A.J. Brown this year, right? Them being able to have a second year of Devonta Smith. Dallas Goedert is a fantastic pass-catching tight end. He's got 3 great weapons to be able to throw the football to, let alone the fact that he's an incredible runner, and they have one of the best rushing games in the NFL. Like, everything about this, let alone the fact that his secondary, let's not even talk about the fact that the secondary for this Eagles team has been shutting down opposing teams' wide receivers left and right. These Eagles are just, they're on a different level than other teams are right now.
So for the Commanders, one thing that they can look forward to is they get Jahan Dotson back today. He practiced Friday without any limitations. So from a fantasy standpoint, not just with Dotson, but just overall, what should fantasy owners know?
Well, I would be watching Brian Robinson and Antonio Gibson again just to be able to see how everything's going to work out from a running game perspective. But, you know, for the wide receivers, I'm hoping that Terry McLaurin gets rolling, but it's going to be tough, right? Both Terry McLaurin and Curtis Samuel. I'd probably assume Curtis Samuel is going to be a guy that's going to get quite a few targets towards the line of scrimmage because this Eagles secondary is really good. Like, they just shut down everybody that they play. So they're going to have to be able to find ways to be able to manufacture touches, to be able to keep the ball moving, keep drives alive, because the last thing that they need to do is have the ball in Jalen Hurts' hands, because they're just going to drive down the field. I mean, I realize that this Commanders defense is good, but this Eagles offense is so good. I'm with Aaron. Like, they should be 9-0 at the end of this one.
Yeah, this is a rematch from when they faced each other earlier in week 3. The Eagles scored 24 points in the first half, and then it ended up being a 24-8 game. We'll see what happens, but now let's make our picks for this game. Who do we think is going to be winning? Who's first up over here? We got our game picks. We got Dopp. Who you got in this one?
I'm going to take the Eagles in this one, and I think I have them with a pretty high score. Yeah, I have 34-13. I don't see the Commanders scoring a whole lot.
All right, Erin, I think there's no surprise as to who she'll be picking in this game. She is taking the Eagles 24-14. LME is taking, I'm guessing, the Eagles 26-20.
Wow.
I think this game will be closer than most people expect. Washington does have some of the most QB hits in the NFL. They have one of the better passing defenses and rushing defenses. I think defense plays well in November, but I'm still taking the Eagles. 24-16 for the Eagles. The staff is going 30-17. Rarely does the staff decide to go with us on this pick.
I want to give you a quick shout out. You've had so many good music shirts throughout the show this year. You've got another great one here. You've got an Outcast one. I feel like this is where, when Germany is going to decide which songs you're going to sing, come to Skubie and I promise we got some good music taste. I'm just not so sure about John Denver. That's really what's representing us right now internationally?
Oh, man. Well, thank you for watching Monday Tailgate presented by Snickers. That's Daniel Dopp. I'm Skubie Mageza. Y'all make sure you go watch the game. If you're watching us on the app, just authenticate. On your cable provider, watch ESPN.
That's
Peace.
Right.